In an ever-evolving world that seems to constantly want to fight for your attention, one place seems to constantly grab the attention of many, that being the world of online gambling. While restrictions are finally being put into place for what is and what is not allowed on the internet, gambling seems to continuously fly under the radar and is consistently evolving to adapt to newer and newer landscapes to draw in more people while raising eyebrows in terms of worries around ethics. These issues, such as marketing towards children, collusion, and taking advantage of those with serious addictions, will be covered in this video essay by touching on many different areas such as web-based prediction websites, video games, and the lack of lawmaking decisions that have led to this becoming such a massive issue. In order to delve into this wide world of gambling, I feel it's important to start with understanding how this issue has managed to get so far and where failings have been seen across regulations. The biggest issue with online gambling is how ineffective government regulation has proved worldwide in keeping up with changes and loopholes being found by online gambling companies. The Government of Ireland introduced the Gambling Regulation Act 2024 that attempted to place heavy restrictions on the world of gambling by introducing a need for a licence for any gambling related activities, restricted gambling advertising, and attempted to protect children. Although this act was strong, it was simply too little too late, as the restrictions placed on online forms of gambling were bare bones and did nothing to attempt to lower the rising gambling addiction found in online gambling. In the United States, sports betting was illegal for many years, until 2018 where the Supreme Court decided to legalise sports betting and create a massive financial industry that has preyed on people for many years. As of a 2024 study conducted by the World Health Organization, it was found that an estimated 1.2% of the worldwide adult population has some form of gambling disorder, an expected $700 billion in revenue globally solely from gambling. This study attributes much of the rise of gambling to smartphone access and the normalisation of gambling through advertising and marketing schemes designed to take advantage of those who are more averse to developing gambling addictions. Governments are clearly struggling to try and clamp down on the rising issue of gambling addiction, when one of the most notorious ways this slowness is being taken advantage of is through prediction platforms. Kalshi is a self-described web-based prediction platform. This service works by allowing users to place bets on real-world events from sports, politics, cultural moments, and even the weather for certain areas. Kalshi avoids the typical gambling and sports betting regulations by emphasizing the website is simply a prediction platform, and thus does not work like a casino by only taking a cut of any prediction made, and by marketing bets as event contracts. With the CEO, Tarek Mansour, saying, "It's a marketplace, one regulated by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. This service has managed to avoid regulations at every avenue possible, and the US has even worked with the United States government to give the platform more and more leverage." In recent years, Kalshi has faced harsh criticism from many with accusations of incentivizing gambling, insider trading, and even as far as war-based predictions. The issue of insider trading on Kalshi and Polymarket, another web-based prediction platform, has only become more prevalent as these services grow and more public figures align with these services and become sponsored by these platforms. In April 2026, the first legal case against insider trading through prediction platforms was filed against the US Army Master Sergeant, who had placed a $33,000 bet on the capture of the President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. The twist here is that this sergeant was actively involved in the planning of the capture of the Venezuelan president, and so profited an approximate $409,000 from using this classified information. This case being a very obvious example of insider trading should have been a wake-up call for regulators in these prediction platforms. And yeah, just days after the announcement of this case, both platforms announced new systems called perpetual futures, allowing users to bet up to 10 times their account balance. On their website, Kalshi also publishes examples of insider trading, such as in February 2026, where an article was posted exposing insider trading that had been caught, with one case being against a candidate for governor of California, placing $200 on his own candidacy, and another case of an insider who had traded approximately $4,000 on YouTube streaming markets. Now, while these cases have been published and the violators are facing extensive penalties and bans for their actions, it raises question as to why these were even allowed to occur to begin with. In the case of the US governor candidate, he was only caught because of the fact that he posted about this violation on his social media. So what would have occurred had he not posted this? And how many other politicians or influential people are violating these policies and getting away with it? Despite all of this, Kalshi and Polymarket do not seem to want to rush to stop this from occurring again, and have made seemingly no moves to change regulations or internal policies to stop violators from profiting off of their platform. Polymarket is one of the key offenders in allowing users to profit from this form of betting, with a clear example being the US war against Iran. This war has led to millions of dollars being placed on these real-world tragedies and has led to an almost trivialization of war, and having many users now viewing war as profitable and something they can take advantage of off the suffering of others. In April 2026, there was a $280 million bet placed on the possibility of a ceasefire deal between the US and Iran. These services have not shown any signs of stopping this war profiting from happening, and have even encouraged it, with Polymarket making a statement following criticism of these predictions stating, "After discussing with those directly affected by the attacks who had dozens of questions, we realised that prediction markets could give them the answers they needed in ways TV and X could not. These services also do not screen users in any way and simply require a proof a user is over the age of 18, and then the users have full access to the website with no safety rails built in to protect those who may be more vulnerable." The usage of prediction markets has seeped into regular society, with over $1.2 billion being placed on bets across the 2026 Super Bowl weekend, just on Kalshi. These platforms attempt to lure in young users with small bets based on insignificant things in culture, such as one user whose first wager was on the film score of the recent Fantastic Four movie. This user proceeded to get addicted to Kalshi and lost over $2,000 in just 6 months on bets around the MLB at the age of 18, while traditional sports betting is not even legal to those under the age of 21, with the user saying, "Kalshi was my entrance into gambling. Every single dime I had, I lost on the app." These services seem to be built on enticing young users and attempting to form an addiction at an early age through these small bets, while leading to users to the most prominent and expensive form of betting on the site, sports betting, accounting for 90% of bets across the platform. Serious regulation is needed worldwide to reel back the power that these platforms have to protect users who could easily fall victim to the practices from these companies. Despite this, another massive industry has been forming hidden tactics to entice users to the world of gambling for many years, and with fewer repercussions. From their inception, video games have always found ways to try and get more and more money from players. Starting with the days of the arcades to modern video games and their ever-evolving ways to interest players in spending their money. The modern and most successful way of going about this has been the introduction of microtransactions. A microtransaction is described as an online transaction involving a small amount of currency. These microtransactions have ranged from small cosmetic items for in-game characters to the crux of this argument, loot boxes and randomized items. The most notorious case of these microtransactions came in 2017 with the release of the game Star Wars Battlefront 2. This long-awaited multiplayer game released with an extensive progression system for iconic characters across the franchise, with a system designed to reward players by strengthening their characters called Star Cards. These cards would give characters buffs to different abilities such as more damage, health, or decreasing the time to use abilities again. Despite seeming harmless, the issue came with the time investment required to unlock these Star Cards throughout in-game playtime. Players instantly found extremely minimal amounts of the in-game currency being handed out for challenges and match completion, which led to many players struggling to upgrade characters. Thankfully, there was a very simple way to speed up this progression simply by going to the store and buying in-game currency and spending it on loot boxes for the chance to acquire these cards. This system was instantly called out for being extremely predatory and showing signs of gambling, as there was no guarantee of any cards from these openings, pressuring users to spend more and more just to simply compete in a game they already paid €70 for. This release sparked significant outrage from fans and led to the Belgian Gaming Commission launching an investigation into the publisher EA on the basis of these loot boxes being considered a form of gambling while being sold to children. The result of this investigation was a lawsuit that found EA and other game publishers guilty of promoting gambling through loot boxes and leading to these services being banned in the country of Belgium. This result led to waves being sent across the video game industry, with many popular video games removing their loot boxes in the coming years, replacing them with more player-first versions, and removing the option to purchase many of these loot boxes. With that said, the biggest culprit of these loot boxes, EA Games, did not remove every form of loot box in their games, and made sure to keep in their main moneymakers in their online sports games and the packs offered within these games. From FIFA to Madden to NBA 2K, EA Sports has a monopoly on the most popular sports video games, and so has cornered the market on how these games handle in-game currency, specifically on their online team modes. Each of these games offers an online team mode where players can recruit athletes from different teams into a team constructed by players, acquired either from an in-game market or from randomized packs. These randomized packs can be purchased through the use of in-game currency, or once again, by going into the shop and spending real money on another currency to open these randomized packs on a game that can now cost up to €80. These currency packs can easily cost users up to €100 and do not guarantee players who buy them any return on the money invested, and could easily lead to players acquiring nothing of in-game value. With minimal in-game currency being available from simply playing games in comparison to the price of these packs, many players are pushed to spending at least a certain amount of real money to not instantly fall behind other players, especially when they require cards that have stats that could vary greatly from the free cards given to players who do not spend money on these packs. Unfortunately, due to these games being considered suitable for those aged 3 and up, as defined by PEGI, the Pan-European Game Information Federation, who oversees age ratings for video games, it has led to many younger people being introduced to these harmful systems and developing addictions. In 2020, Jonathan Pennick, a teenager in the UK, opened up in an interview about how FIFA in specific instilled gambling habits into him from his formative years. Pennick recalls, "When I was 17, I got my first debit card, and suddenly the decision to spend money on the game became instant. Just a click of a button away, with no need to buy the vouchers and worry that my parents would find them." In the interview, he proceeds to go on about how once his mother was diagnosed with cancer, these packs became a coping mechanism and led to the teen spending over £3,000 on packs. At no point was Pennick stopped by the game for high levels of spending, but due to the fact that this is all online, no one knew just how much he was spending and how much harm it was causing him. The House of Lords Gambling Committee in the UK pushed for a motion in 2020 for these loot boxes to be considered a form of gambling and for harsh regulations to be put in place to protect children and vulnerable adults. As of 2026, this motion has not moved past a mere suggestion, with the UK government classifying the fact that these packs cannot be exchanged for real currency being the deciding factor in why they will not be classified as gambling. When looking to these in-game items being traded for real-world currency, there is no greater example than the game Counter-Strike Global Offensive. The massively popular multiplayer game has spawned an entire economy based around loot boxes that were introduced in 2013, where players can acquire skins for gloves, guns, and knives in-game. The issue came when these skins can be sold online for real-world currency, with the highest of these sales going for over $1 million. This creates a market for players to want to spend an extremely high amount of money, trying to pull any of these skins for profit, and allowing external websites to spawn around gambling these skins. In 2016, 2 content creators began promoting a website to gamble for these items called CSGO Lotto, where users could spend real-world money on cases and sell any skins pulled for a profit. This became a major issue when it was exposed that these content creators were presidents of CSGO Lotto and were promoting the site to their younger audience with knowingly rigged rates and creating a false view of what the rates of the site were. Despite fierce backlash after the CSGO Lotto incident, these sites have only grown more extensive since this controversy, with over $2.7 billion worth of skins being listed across various different websites as of 2026. This market is extremely volatile and has faced several crashes due to in-game changes, leading to many of these gamblers losing even more money and feeling the need to spend more money to recoup these losses. The presented issues here show clear need for regulation in order to protect both children and those with severe gambling tendencies, as the current state of online gambling provides zero safety rails for these people. While not being directly marketed to children, many of these services are available to children, specifically with sports games and their very low age rating leading to many younger people developing gambling tendencies, and as seen in the case of Jonathan Pennick, creating significant issues later in life and lead to severe debt. If governments wish to support these people, harsh regulation is very much required to rein in these services and create a safe space online for everyone. Clearly this issue will not go away tomorrow, but once they are taken seriously worldwide, significant progress can be made and allow those online to browse safely without worries of a push for gambling.